Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Or Transformers Revenge of Michael Bay, Transformers Revenge of Hollywood on all the people who like quality movies. I'm going to sum this up, and then Stan's going to sum it up, and then we'll talk about it. So here's what I thought of the film. What a bloated albatross of a film. Stan, what did you think?
I'd rather die than watch that movie again. I'm dead serious about that. That was an absolute nightmare.
It was like sitting through noise. Like visual and audio noise, and just that for 2 hours. It was like being at a heavy metal concert being played by people who are just learning how to play the instruments. That was unbelievable.
It was as unpleasant an experience as I've ever had watching a movie.
Let me say this because a lot of people are probably going to be curious about at least one aspect, because I reviewed the first Transformers, and it was bad. It wasn't even this bad, but it was bad.
I had so much contempt for the first movie. It is God compared to the second movie.
Well, I did have a somewhat of a contempt, but I did say in my first review that you might be able to get by on the special effects. Like, if you're thinking of the film in terms of just a visual experience, then maybe you'll be entertained. And I have to say that I was entertained for all that the first movie was bad. The special effects in this movie looked horrible.
They did. It looked like Pixar, and I was surprised because
it looked worse than some of that looked hand drawn. It didn't even look, and not even up to Pixar standards.
Yeah.
Some of it looked like Go Motion. It was terrible.
I was really disappointed by the special effects, which was the only thing from me too.
That the first movie had.
Yeah, the first movie irritated me for that reason, because I don't think that you should only be able to like a movie for the special effects, or the action, but for God's sake, they looked great in the first movie. How much did this movie cost to make?
Let me find out. Okay, sorry about that. I had to do a little figure check real quick. $200 million.
For what?
Where did the money go? What did they spend the money? You know, to quote Roger Ebert, they must have taken a limousine every time they went to the John.
They must have had some great lunches.
God almighty, that looked awful. I mean, you know, I complained about the special effects in Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 looked better than this.
You know, oh God, yeah, it did. And the Spider-Man 3 was a little disappointing because you're used to seeing, you know, it had such a massive budget. You expected to see something huge. This was terrible. Spider-Man 3 didn't look
Spider-Man
terrible.
3 was adequate.
Right.
This was awful human garbage.
It was.
I can't even talk about the plot. What the fuck was happening in that movie?
I was so confused for most of it. It was just a bunch of people sitting around places.
You know, we were confused about one or two things about District 9.
Right.
But I said in the review, and I still think this is true, that could be remedied by watching it again.
Right.
I don't think anyone can make sense of this movie no matter how many times they watch it.
In District 9, at least there were logical problems that we were trying to figure out, you know, what the logic was. This was just incoherent.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just talk about what can be discussed of this fuck of a film. First of all, and I just want to say before we go on with that, the bad special effects are not why this movie was bad.
No, there was just one more disappointment.
Yeah. So you've got this old Transformer that they come across later on, who he's got like a Transformer walking stick, and I guess he's supposed to be cute. And then he's like, "Oh, hang on, I got to do something." So he transports himself, 4 people that were there, and 3 characters that weren't there to Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Michael Bay, suck my dick. Second of all, you have that retard that was in the first movie. Remember the retarded guy from Sector 7?
Yeah.
The pedophiliac, guy who has Down syndrome. Well, he's in this movie, but he's like, oh yeah, Sector. So here's what happened. Sector 7 was closed down in the last movie. So But there's another division now that's working with the Transformers. Why you're going to send a bunch of squishy humans to help the Transformers take down other Transformers, I'll never know. Mm-hmm. It's like, asking cockroaches to go along on a drug bust.
Right.
But, so... There's this other division filled with people in the last movie, special ops who have a lot of training. So that the retard from Sector 7, Sector 7 is gone, but he still has the combat training. He still has the intelligence. He still knows more about the Transformers than most people, but he has to go work at a meat factory.
Yeah, he's got to work in a deli.
Yeah. Okay, Michael Bay, suck my dick.
Okay, I've got one. The Weasley little guy at the beginning, the liaison, I guess. So he's a jerk for about a 10-minute scene, totally drops out of the movie, and then he gets back into the movie toward the end to get pushed out of an airplane and make a phone call from Egypt.
Yep.
What was he in that movie for? Why wasn't that on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, you could cut him out, and then what's the damn difference? And then so there's the whole... I don't want to say plot, but one of the many random things that happen in this mess is that there's this Transformer called the Fallen, who I guess he's just been waiting around to go to Earth because they said that he can only be killed by a Prime. I'm pretty sure that anyone who rips him apart is going to kill him, but I don't know.
It had to be a Prime. They never explained that.
And then so he's waiting and waiting. Then he goes there and he's like, hey, tell you what, let's just tell the humans we're here. Okay, humans, we're here, and hand over this kid because they need the kid for the knowledge that's in his head.
Even though they didn't for some reason but anyway.
Yeah, anyway, so we need the kid. If you don't hand him over, we're going to destroy a bunch of your cities. You have no pronounced amount of time to hand him over before we start doing this.
That an hour later they were still dicking around in the desert, and I said, boy, they must have given them an infinite amount of time to turn him over. They didn't destroy one city.
Yeah, even just to say, just to let you know we're serious, we're going to destroy Michael Bay, suck my dick. And then, problem number 4... it's not really a problem. It's just a testament to how dumb and random this movie is. But Zach's character, what the fuck? He dies. And he goes to robot heaven.
He goes to robot heaven, yeah.
He dies and he goes to robot heaven.
Did you say Zach's character?
What's his name?
Shia.
Yeah. What's his character's name? Is it Zach?
Sam.
Is it Sam? Oh, whatever. Zach, Paul,
okay.
Dickface, whoever's in this.
Sam goes to robot heaven.
Yeah. The main character. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know why I thought it was Zach. Who the fuck knows?
Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
Who cares?
Yeah, so he goes to robot heaven. So if this were a Western, if he were dying for horses, he'd go to horse heaven.
Right.
Michael Bay, suck my dick. And if you're sick of me saying that, well, now you understand the pain that I feel of watching this movie. The frustration you're feeling over the repetitiveness of me telling him to suck my dick is how frustrating this movie is.
I am... to quote Senator Barney Frank, of all people...
Please don't.
It is a testament to the First Amendment that this kind of vile, contemptible trash can be put on a movie screen. So after he gets out of robot heaven, and I guess he comes back to life or something, then the key that had dissolved into a bunch of little dust particles magically forms back together. So I guess the robot heavenly host put it back together or something.
Wizard,
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I never dreamed in a million years that I would ever be able to say this, but Megan Fox's character had less to do in this movie than she did in the first one.
Her role was diminished in this movie, but her screen time didn't go down.
No, it did. She wasn't even in it. She wasn't even on screen for very long. They were with the exception of the ending when they had her bouncing in slow motion all over the place. They didn't even use her physically.
They barely. She had a lot to do in the beginning. She had a lot to do when he was in college, and then she had a lot to do at the end.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
She wasn't in it barely at all.
No, she was in it, but she was just there. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't even think she was there. But the thing, the amazing thing is the best thing in the movie was Shia LaBeouf.
You know what? They gave him all the good lines. They gave him some lines that could have
There were no good lines in this movie.
But I mean, for the movie that it was, they gave him the only decent lines. That's what I'll say. They gave him the only he had the best things to say in the movie.
Yeah,
and he was the best thing in the movie. And that reminds me of an old Groucho Marx joke where he said to a woman, "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen," and that's not saying much for you. And that's exactly how I feel about his role in this movie.
Yeah. But I like Shia LaBeouf. I do too.
He's a really naturalistic actor. I actually like the way he plays things.
He's pretty good. I think if he gets better roles, which he probably will later in his career, that he'll do fine.
Yeah.
It's just he keeps on getting shit like this and this,
Yeah.
But anyway, man, was that garbage. And thinking about this movie and watching this movie made me reflect on what I liked about District 9 because as far as audience reaction, it's kind of mixed. Lots of people liked it. And a lot of people, I've heard it many, many times that people think that it was overrated.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
I think it's a fair statement,
too. It wasn't bad,
overrated.
but it was overrated.
It was.
And because everybody is saying, it's the most original sci-fi, and yet, well, you know what? This is what sci-fi is supposed to be doing. This is what it always had been doing.
Right.
It is a return to what science fiction should be. This Transformers movie is garbage.
Yes.
And it's a good example of why movies like District 9 need to be made.
Right.
And movies like this don't need to be
you're
made.
absolutely right about that. Can I tell you something? This is the third movie that I've seen this week, because I've had a rough couple of weeks, as you know. But this is the third movie I've had a chance to watch this week. The first was Slumdog Millionaire, which you really need to see.
I've heard it's good.
I loved that movie. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime.
Hope so.
The second was the 2006 remake of The Wicker Man. And
wasn't that a great movie?
You know what? I was more entertained by Nicolas Cage running around in a fucking bear suit, yelling at people and punching women. Like that's not the most... And the movie expecting me to take that seriously than I was watching this for 5 minutes.
Well, I don't want to... Wicker Man, the 2006 remake, is...
Good God, it was awful.
But it's right on that line of so bad it's good.
It really is.
I laughed through the whole movie, and I know I wasn't supposed to.
No, it was hysterical.
But I would watch that a million times in a row before I ever watched this again.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. This might be the last general review for a while because Stan has got a few things going on right now to where he's going to be absent for about a month. So I just wanted to get this out of the way because I know a lot of people wanted to know how I felt about this film. And there it is.
So I just want to add one more thing because it's probably the last thing I'm going to be able to say to your confused Matthew people for a month or so. I would only do this for you guys, watch a film like this, and this is a testament to how much I like you.
Well, that new Star Trek movie is looking better and better.
Oh my God. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. All right, stay tuned, people, because more stuff is coming, and we will see y'all later.